man.
Who
you too.
else is here?
Not going
I
to
know
be
Michael, I see
convinced.
Charles, and
Jared, is your
Jared.
are your folks joining?
I think they're at a wedding, so I don't think they can make it.
Okay, no problem.
hello, Jared.
Hello, how are you?
Long time.
Uh-huh.
We got back
Jared,
to
the
where we were.
CSO phoned me in a panic. There was a Jared Sachs that was
Adele.
making threats. And they saw a photo of you with John T and they thought it was you. And I'm like, no,
No, different one.
no, not today.
Hello,
Okay.
Silas.
Okay.
Mike, should we kick off?
Yeah, I was hoping that Harmy Goldfuss was joined because he actually knows quite a lot, but he's struggling to get on. Let's maybe, is he here? No.
I am also Chaim Goldfuss.
Hi, Chaim, how you doing? Nice to meet you.
Hello.
Michael, your parents have disappeared.
Oh, they couldn't get their camera to work. Are they gone now?
There's a second page.
John, how can I share my screen with the slides? Can you?
Is there not a sharing option next to the leave button?
No.
Hello,
yeah.
Stephen.
Yeah.
You're talking over them.
Can I send Josh? John says I need permission. Can I send you the slides and you can share them?
You can. I'm just let me just see settings quickly. 1 second.
Jared.
It might be my computer issues
There's
actually.
a share button next to the
Where
you answer your phone.
Let's see the rest of the people.
It's the second icon on the right.
Yeah, I also have it.
Just leave it off. If you won't have the photo, just leave it now. Let's just look what what's going on.
Yes, Jared with his little boy.
Give me 1 second, John.
Jared, is that your little boy?
Ronnie Penn.
So beautiful.
Yeah, little Julian.
How old is he now?
So nice.
He's 1.5.
1.5. Wonderful. Are your parents coming?
No, they've got a wedding, so they can't make it.
John, I just
Okay.
sent you the
Or a bar
slides.
mitzvah.
Okay.
so.
Fine.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I got the whole sex clan.
We haven't got
As soon as I get them, I'll just give an intro quick.
That's good.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, we
Yes.
can hear you.
We can hear you. Can you hear
I don't
us?
know why we haven't got a camera. We can't find the camera. Right. As long as you can hear us.
We can hear you perfectly.
Hello,
Yeah.
Jay. Hello, Jay. Hello, Stevie.
Mhm.
Oh, John, it doesn't.
I'm not getting the email yet, Mike.
Yeah, it doesn't want to see.
Mike, is there not an arrow where you can like toggle through the different menu options and then
Go
see the
down
share
and see
button?
the rest. How many are
It
on?
says we need permission to share. Go to security. One second.
I think it's like an internal like settings issue on your
Yes.
side. Yeah, I've seen that before. You can do it quickly. It will be quick.
If it's too big, send it via
No, do it.
WeTransfer.
This looks like my grandfather.
Hey,
Bring
Pin.
it down.
John,
Mr.
otherwise,
Ping.
give me a
Is
second.
it a big file, Mike?
Yeah.
Does it?
That's a big file.
WeTransfer it.
And then I'll save it as a PDF.
Let's see what
See if that works.
Okay, go into this one.
You need to get down. No.
Go down in the picture.
Hi. Hello. How are you, Izzy?
John, what's your email address?
This is John T. Sachs at Gmail.
Oh, not the Sachs one.
No, not the Sachs one.
I'm also unverified. I don't know.
Gmail.com, eh?
Where's Cliff?
Yeah. Sorry, guys, we're just having a technical issue. We should be up and running in a minute.
No worries.
Should we start and say 3 minutes about ourselves? No politics, no weather.
Yeah,
done
go
this
for it, Gil.
before, Gila.
Gil, do you want to start?
Why no weather?
Because then they start talking about the snow and the sun, and that's all they talk about.
Don't I send you the PDF? See if that works. It seems like it's 2 megs. I think it will get through.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, in a second.
Where did David disappear to?
Kirsty,
I'm sure he'll jump back
now's
on.
the time to ask those questions you're asking me.
Like, leave it, John.
How's the time?
Peter, how's the baby?
The baby's fantastic. Thanks, Gila. 3 weeks today. 3 weeks
Sure.
today. Yeah,
So,
It's been amazing.
Fantastic.
It's been amazing.
How's Cliffy?
Cool. Okay, guys. I've got the
Good.
slides. So I think what I'm going to do, and don't take offense, I'm going to mute everyone because of background noise. And when it's your turn to speak, you can just unmute yourself. If you can't figure out how to do that, just wave ferociously and I'll then unmute you. So there we go. Everyone's muted. Mike, if you can unmute yourself. So I think for me, Mike and I had a discussion around the process, and we think the best way to do this is for Mike to start. We'll go through the presentation. I'm going to have to share the presentation, so I'll share it. And Mike will obviously start at like the furthest up the tree and work his way down. And I think what would be great is when we get to a certain person. So let's say in our family, the eldest is my father. When we get to Cyril, he'll then unmute, introduce himself, maybe say a little bit about himself, where he is in the world, and then we move on. Just so that we can easily connect who the person is in the tree, and you can associate that person with the tree in the face. We think that's the best way to work. And then I think after the presentation, we can then just have informal discussions. So I think that's the best way for it to work. So Mike, over to you. You can just, I'll try and, I'll try and, there we go. You can just wave or just tell me when, and I'll move mine.
Thanks. So, so really thanks to Jonty for organizing this. I must say that we, not to sort of set the bar very low, but we don't actually have a lot of information about the Sachs family. So to be honest, like my grandmother and her sister Lipsy, they didn't really ask, and I think the same of Gerald and Bocky, Jonty's grandparents, didn't really ask a lot about their parents that came from Lithuania. So I think there was like a big disconnect between that generation that came to South Africa from Lithuania and their children that grew up in South Africa. And they didn't really ask a lot of questions about their parents' lives in Lithuania, their family. And there was a language barrier because the parents spoke Yiddish and they spoke English and Afrikaans. And only very late in life that my grandmother started to sort of ask questions or was interested in her family. And I helped her a little bit to find out what we could with records and asking different people for information. And so we were able to put together a little bit of the family story. But unfortunately, like there wasn't a lot of like written stuff. People didn't really write down stories or anything like that. And also because we don't know a lot of people like in the broader family, maybe that went to America or other places, we haven't got their information either. So it's very much just, on what we've got as a small family for info. But yeah, it's still an interesting story with all of those caveats. So the first thing is the origins of the Sachs name. So it's actually derived from an acronym for the Hebrew word Zerah Kodesh, which means holy seed. which is interesting, and it's related to a line in Isaiah 6:13 about talks about the destruction of the Jewish people and being left as a stump, and they say that will be the holy seed for the future growth. So there might be sort of some idea that the Sachs family might come from a distinguished rabbinic line. So if anyone wants to, any male Saxes want to do a Y-DNA test, it might be interesting to see if they match to any sort of rabbinic families. There's a good chance, given the name, that they do. I mean, I just put as a bit of a joke, but these are like coat of arms. They're not our family, but found online, like some coat of arms from Germany and from Hungary for the Sachs family. So Sachs is a very common name, yeah, but that's the origins of the name. So if we move on to the next slide, John T. So here is like our very high level family tree. So the information that we've got, the oldest known Sachs we know about is Yossel Sachs. We don't really know anything about him, just that he was the father of Shmuel Movsha Sachs, who's the father of most of everybody here. Yeah, you'll see. So Shmuel Movsha was married to Esther Sachs or Ethel Sachs. Etty Sachs, we're not 100% sure of her name. In some records, she's Esther, but a lot of people were named Ethel, so her name is a bit disputed. But they were the sort of the great grandparents, and they had 4 children. They had Nathan, they had Elka, they had Charles, and they had Banus. And that's sort of where we all basically come from. John, do you want to move to the next one? So basically, what do we know about where the family comes from? So our roots are in what's today Lithuania, was actually Russia then when they lived there. And you can see where the circle is, that the family sort of originated around 4 towns in Lithuania, sort of towards the center of Lithuania. Yeah, that's sort of where the family was from. You'll see that at the bottom of the map is a death record for Shmuel Movsha Sachs, who's our sort of, the older Sachs. You can see that his father's name was Yossel. And if you look to the right, you'll see that it says family from Ritavas. So in Lithuania, basically it was very similar to apartheid South Africa, where people were assigned to places. So Jews were restricted where they could live. They were only allowed to live in the Pale of Settlements. And even within the Pale of Settlements, they were allocated to a town, to their ancestral town. And they did move around, but their registration was still tied to that town, because they had to pay taxes in that town, or when there was military conscription, they took a quota from each town. So their original ancestral town was sort of always registered. And you can see from this that although he died in Plumyan, which is nearby, his actual ancestral town was Ritava. So Ritava is actually quite a famous town. If any of you have been to Cape Town and to the Jewish Museum, you would know that the cafe there is called Cafe Ritava. And lucky for us that Mendel Kaplan and the very wealthy Kaplan family also came from Ritavas. And so they did a lot of stuff on the town. They translated a lot of records and did a lot of research on the town, which has made it quite prominent. They wrote a book on the town, etc. So if we go to the next slide, you'll see some pictures from the trip that 2 trips that I went with my parents once, and once with another cousin to Lithuania. And you'll see some of the pictures of Ritava. So Ritava is a very old town. It's 760 years old, and Jews lived there for probably 400-500 years before the Holocaust. So Jewish presence there was a very long time. And if you look, you'll see the shul is still standing, the building in the second photo, that's the shul in Ritva. I think it looks a little bit like the Parei shul, to be honest, but maybe that's what I made up in my head. And then you'll see there's a picture of us standing outside a shop. That's actually the shop that was owned not by the Sachs family, but by the Herring family, who are also from Ritva. But you can get an idea of like the houses, what they look like wooden houses, small. That's the cemetery pictures over there are. One is the Ritva cemetery, and the other one is actually the Plumjan cemetery. So I went to Plumjan, and actually you'll see that today the cemetery's been converted into, so where Shmuel Movs is actually buried, and there aren't many graves left. There's just a line of a few headstones, and they actually turned the cemetery into a soccer field, which is a bit of a disgrace, but that's how they do things sometimes in Lithuania. So that's actually a picture of the Plumjan cemetery. There are a few graves and just a soccer field. That's where he's actually buried. So he was originally, and the family were originally from Ritva, and they seem to have moved because if we go back to the map, we've got birth records for some of the children, and they sort of come from different towns. So a few kilometers away, maybe 20, 30 kilometers away, was this very, very small town called Tver, which is probably got about 500 people living in it, and 100 of them were Jews. And that's where my great-grandfather Bainus was born. And then a few kilometers down the road, maybe 20 kilometers down the road, is a town called Voronoi, where Elka Sachs and Nathan Sachs were born. So the family seemed to have moved a bit, and then he was buried in Plumjan, which is very strange, right? It's not usual for Jews to have moved around so much, and we don't really know why he sort of seemed to have moved so much. Shmuel Moshe, and also that he died quite young. He died at age 46 in 1898 of a gut inflammation. I don't know, maybe it was stomach cancer. I don't know what it was, but he died very young. So most of the kids were below the age of, were still teens or children when he died, and so they probably wouldn't have known much about their father. And the mother, Esther, would have probably had to bring up the kids alone without them, which must have been quite difficult. Why the fourth town, Lukova, is on the list is because Elka Sachs, who married Chaim Goldfuss, we'll get there, she moved to Lukova, and that's where her and her family lived until the Holocaust. So those are like the four really major towns where the family lived. If you want to learn more about Voronoi, which is quite interesting, there's a place in Joburg called Vorna Valley, that's named after Voronoi, that a wealthy Jewish person from Voronoi actually built. But also there's a book called Herschel's Kingdom, which is an old book, but it's a really good book, and that's actually about Herschel came from Voronoi. So if you want to read more about it, that's a probably good place to start. Jonty, let's move on. So I guess the question is like, why did the Sachs family come to South Africa, right? There's like a few, I mean, so many of the branches land up, there's someone on every branch that lands up in South Africa. So why did the family come to South Africa is the big question. Why did they leave Lithuania? And there were three like factors that sort of did this, right? One was military conscription, avoiding the Russian army. Jews were forced to be conscripted up to 25 years, sometimes under terrible conditions. They were taken away from their families at age 18 and forced to serve in the Russian army. This was a deliberate policy of the Russian government to try and de-Judize the community and take them away from their parents and their family and ultimately convert them to Christianity. So you can see I found a record in the archives for my great-grandfather Bainus Sachs, and you can see that it's avoiding military conscription. He left to South Africa, and there was an arrest warrant out for his arrest in Lithuania on the 15th of February 1915, because he avoided military conscription and didn't go to the Russian army. So that was the big reason that Jews left. The second reason for our family was Albach brothers. So I don't know if any of you, some of the Bloemfontein people, I know Hami's on the call, but Albach brothers plays a very, very big role in our family story. So there were brothers, Nathan and Meyer Albach, who came to South Africa very early in the 1890s, and they set up one of the oldest stores in Bloemfontein called Albach Brothers. I've been in touch with some of their descendants, but why the store matters is basically they wrote recommendations. First, Nathan Sachs came to South Africa and worked for Albach Brothers, and then in the archives I found a document signed on an Albach Brothers letterhead for my great-grandfather Banus, giving him saying that he needs him to work in the store as a salesman, and therefore getting a permit for him to be able to come to South Africa and actually work and have permission to come to South Africa. So Nathan, Banus, and Charles all probably worked at Albach Brothers for a considerable amount of time, and that's where they would have learned the trade of opening a store, of being salespeople, of how to order, how to get supplies, how to market. So really a lot of our family story has to do with Albach Brothers. And on Jaime Goldfuss's side, his father actually also had a connection with Albach Brothers and was a partner in the business. So Albach Brothers they had a bit of a family feud, the two brothers, and Meyer Albach and Nathan Albach had their own stores. So at one stage in Bloemfontein, for many years, there were two Albach Brothers stores, independent stores running in Bloemfontein. And finally it was actually taken over by Sefton Moskowitz, who actually left Bloemfontein a few years ago and has moved to Joburg. I met him for coffee. He doesn't know very much about that early history and doesn't actually have many records, unfortunately. So the question is, how were they connected to the Albachs? What made the Albachs look after them? And the story is that they were most likely family. We believe that Esther Moshe's wife was an Albach, and that the Sachs family and the Albach family were probably interrelated. They were also from Ritava. If you look in the property records, you can see it's not our Sachs family directly, but there are other Saxes that were like living next to the Albachs in Ritava later on. So those families were definitely deeply connected, and we sort of very lucky, thankful to the Albachs that we sort of survived. And then the last bit of the story is the Union Castle line. So in the 1880s, the Union Castle mail line were transporting mail and cargo from South Africa to London. And they realized that there was an untapped market, that in addition to just cargo, there were Jews that wanted to leave Eastern Europe, and they could provide the service to get poor Jews out of Eastern Europe. And they saw a gap in the market, and they could fill their ships, particularly the steerage and the worst parts of the ship, with poor Jews that wanted to make a new life, particularly in South Africa. And so there was a whole line that was developed, a whole system where Jews in Eastern Europe would buy tickets in Lithuania. They were advertised. They would travel to Germany, to Bremen, where our family went by rail, and then from Bremen they would catch a boat to the UK. They would stay in something called the Poor Temporary, I'll show you some of the records, but in the Poor Temporary Jewish Shelter, the London Jewish community set up in East London. It's still there today. You can go and visit it. A building where they would temporarily house Jewish immigrants, hundreds of thousands of Jewish immigrants from Eastern Europe. And British Jews are very generous, but they always have an ulterior motive. So the idea was that they would help Eastern European Jews, but they would be able to control that they wouldn't stay in England. You could only use the temporary shelter if you committed. They made sure you got back on the boat and went to Africa. and didn't cause trouble for them with authorities. So British Jews raised a lot of money to support these immigrants, and they would spend a week, 2 weeks in this temporary shelter in London, being fed with kosher food and etc. And then at 4 p.m. every Thursday, the Union Castle line would go from Southampton, and they would catch the boat from Southampton and land eventually in Cape Town. So those are like the three big factors that came together that allowed our family to leave Lithuania and come to South Africa. Do you want to do one more slide, Jonty? Okay, so I think now maybe we'll just do each branch of the family. I don't know if anyone wants to ask here any questions at that stage, but now we can just do each branch. Is there anything you want to ask about the old stuff, or anyone want to know anything? You can unmute. Okay, cool. So the oldest Sachs is Nathan Sachs, and this is his family. So Nathan Sachs, he was born in, we'll see a few more documents for him, in 1883 in Varnai, and he married Molly Jaffe in South Africa, and he had 2 children. He had Sam Sachs and Etty Sachs. I don't know if anyone from that branch of the family is on the call. I think Mark Penn might be on the line. That's his family. So I don't know if he is on the line, wants to introduce himself, but it's a good time for Mark Penn to come up. Is he there, John?
Mark was sharing.
I'm Mike. I'm Michael Ben.
Hi, Mark. How are you doing?
I'm okay. Good. This is Michal. And yeah, we're AB and Ethel Sachs's children.
Great. John, do you want to go to the next slide? Mark, say because you can
I
maybe
can introduce myself.
contribute. Yes, introduce yourself.
I'm Michael and Michal Penn's daughter, Ronnie.
Oh, lovely to meet you.
And nice to meet you all. I'm quite excited from this event.
So,
you know this picture that you're showing here now?
yes.
Does anybody know all the characters in this? I've seen this picture before, but lots of the people I don't recognize. I don't know who they are.
So
Does
this is
anybody
actually
know?
your mom. Yeah, this is actually your mom's wedding photo. She's yeah.
Yeah, I recognize a few of the people, but not all. Because the ones at the bottom, this is my grandfather Nathan and Molly, and this is my father's parents, Julius and what was her name? I don't know. I forgot her name, and that's it. And my mom and father up here, and this is my father's brother next to my mom. Sally and Grace. Yeah.
Which one is Samuel Sachs? Can you see him?
Sam
Sachs.
Sam Sachs is. I'm not sure. I'm not sure which one is Sam Sachs. I'm sure he's here, but I don't know. Maybe this. No.
Our great aunt Lipsy Sachs is the one right on the right. I can tell you that.
The one on the right?
Behind Nathan.
Who is that?
Lipsy Sachs.
Lipsy Sachs.
Ruth, her daughter's on the line.
You know, maybe next to just looking at the guy standing next to it, it looks like Sam Sachs, but I'm not sure.
And I actually think the guy behind, right at the back in the middle, is probably. I think it looks a lot like Boki Sachs, but I'm not sure.
I know the name Boki Sachs. I've heard all these names many times, but I don't think I've ever met him. I don't know. Yeah.
So, okay, well, so Nathan was born in Varnai in 1883. He's the oldest child, and he comes to South Africa in 1908. He's the first to come to South Africa, and again, he goes to work at age 18, probably avoiding not, it said on his boat record 18, but if you look at the dates, actually they don't, it's probably he was a bit older. And he goes to Bloemfontein to work for Meir Auerbach and Nathan Auerbach and Auerbach Brothers. And then, I mean, Mark might know better than me, but sort of before in about 1914, maybe 1912, something like that, he leaves Auerbach Brothers and moves to Reddersburg, which is a tiny, tiny dorp in the middle of the Free State, probably like equivalent to, I don't know if it probably had like 500 white people or maybe even 1,000 white people. It really is tiny. And he set up his own shop there in Reddersburg. From what I can find out, he was with a guy called Weiner was his partner, and that's probably who helped him get going. And Weiner was actually a cousin of Molly Jaffe, and I think that's how he would have met his wife. So, she was from the Strand in Cape Town, and how him in the middle of the Free State would have met her is a bit of a mystery. But I think probably the connection is through his partner, Weiner, who was from the same town as Molly Jaffe in Lithuania, from Rakashik. And was probably the connection. He married Molly in 1915. If we go to the next slide, in Cape Town, they actually got married.
And just stop a second, Michael.
Yeah, sure.
And go back to that one which you thought was Bocky.
Yes.
I'm sure that's Cyril.
You think it's Cyril?
It's Cyril. I
At
can
the
see the
top.
face. The face is Cyril.
The one at the top.
That one, yeah. And that's Cyril. That's not Bocky.
Okay.
That's Cyril.
Can I say something?
Sure.
It's just we were in South Africa a few years ago, and we went to Reddersburg. And before we went to Reddersburg, we spoke to Jaime Goldblatt. When my grandfather, the story that I know is that there were two Jewish families. It was Nathan Sachs and the Goldblatt family. And Nathan, he had a farm and I think also a business or something. And also, anyway, I asked her, so I tried to get as much information as I could about Reddersburg. And Jaime drew a map for me. I don't know if you can see it, but I got it here. I don't know if you can see much. Well, you can't really see. But anyway, he said there are two churches. And he made an X where each church was, and then he made a road, and he said, "This is where where our business was, and this is where we lived, and this." And when we came to Reddersburg, there were very few people there. Maybe we saw 10 people all in 2 hours, but there were two churches which we saw, and then we just walked around a bit. I just.
Look, I've also been to Reddersburg. I was there during COVID. It's not in good nick, hey? It was a one-horse town, and now the horse is dead.
Yes, something like that.
Yeah. If you want to go to the next slide, I'll show you a few documents for Nathan. So that's Nathan's birth record, actually, and that's where his father's listed as Esther. This is his marriage record from Cape Town to Molly Jaffe. And here is his boat record. So you can see that he listed himself as a salesman. He came on the Durham Castle, which is the Union Castle line, and he went through Bremen in Germany is where he went. And the record below is about him being at the Poor Temporary Jewish Shelter, where he would have spent 5 days. He spent 5 days in London at the Temporary Jewish Shelter. And then this is a picture of his children from our grandmother's album. It's his daughter, Etty, dressed as a nurse, and Sam. So that, Mark, that's your mom as a child, dressed as a nurse, playing. And there's Sam Sachs, the brother. So, and I think the Peter Sachs, who's Sam Sachs's son, wrote this poem about Reddersburg that's very famous. And it's worth reading, just give you an idea of what life was like there. I know my grandmother told me that she once or twice went to visit, her and Lipsy went to visit their uncle in Reddersburg, and they were surprised that it was so much more backward to Parys. Like there was no hot water. She remembered having to bath in like a tub where they had to boil water and pour it into the metal tub, where in Parys they had running water. So I think, it was quite a life that they must have had there. It couldn't have been easy. All right, should we move on quickly? So the next sort of branch is Charles Sachs, and he's born around 1885, and he marries Clara Herring. So what happens is that in the family, two brothers marry two sisters. So Charles Sachs marries Clara Herring, and my great-grandfather Baines marries Simi Herring. So we have this very close relationship that two brothers marry two sisters.
Marks, if I could ask a question,
Sure.
excuse my ignorance, but where does the split come from? So we got Nathan. What's the relation between Nathan and Charles?
They're brothers.
They're brothers. Okay, sorry. Thanks.
Yeah,
I
Nathan and
also
Charles
have a
are brothers.
question.
Yeah, of course.
Sorry, hi. Very, very nice to meet you all. My name is Yuval Goldfuss. I'm the great grandson of Elka Sachs.
Cool. Nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet all you distant cousins, which I didn't know about. So very cool. Just a question, because you said Charles is next, but I thought Elka was born in 84.
Oh yes, you're right. You're right. I've done it in this order. Yes, Elka's at the end in my slides. Sorry, you're right. You're
Okay,
absolutely
okay, all right. No problem.
So Charles marries Clara. Two brothers marry two sisters, and they grow up in Parys. If we go to the next slide, John T, we can look at it. So unfortunately for Charles, his real Hebrew name was Yecheskel, but I haven't been able to find. Interestingly, I haven't been able to find his birth certificate in Lithuania or his boat records like we found for Nathan and for Baines. But Charles definitely came after Baines because of what we know from the letter from Meir Auerbach. Baines came first and Charles came later. And Charles was quite a lot older than Baines, so maybe he wasn't conscripted to the army. Not every child was conscripted. It depended. There was a quota every year, so some got conscripted, some didn't get conscripted. And so maybe he didn't get conscripted, and it's likely that he stayed behind in Lithuania to look after his mother, because she was on her own. Nathan was in South Africa. Nathan probably came to South Africa to earn some money that he could send back to his family and to support them because his father had died. And Baines came to avoid military conscription, and Charles probably stayed with the mom. Elka got married and she moved off to her family. And so it's likely that Charles sort of stayed with his mother to sort of look after her for a while. So he would have come a bit later to South Africa. We're not sure exactly when, but we know that he gets married in 1920 in Cape Town to Clara Herring. And my grandmother was sort of she wanted to know how they met. She wasn't sure how. It was interesting to her where Charles and Clara met, because Clara had been in South Africa since 1912. She came quite early, and she was only married in 1920, which is quite a lot later. So she wanted to know like where they met, and what she always thought, my grandmother, that it was an arranged marriage, that Clara and Charles was an arranged marriage. I don't know if that's true, but that was her view. And likely that they knew each other from Ritava, because the Herring family was from Ritava, and they were closely intertwined with the Auerbach family in Ritava, and probably the Sachs family. So the families probably knew each other from Daheim, and maybe it was an arranged marriage, as she suggested. So there's their marriage record. If we go to the next slide, just a few pictures of Charles's. There they are in Parys together, the brothers and the sisters. They're like two brothers married, two sisters. Quite a nice picture of them on a bench near the river. And then a picture I thought which is very South African of all the kids in Parys with the two maids looking after them. So there would be my grandmother Bicky, her sister Lipsy, Cyril, Bokkie, and Gerald are all in that picture with the two maids as kids. So the one question is that when did they move to Parys, right? So I think that's a nice question to discuss here with Charles. So he probably also went to work at Mauer Aubach in Bloemfontein. Nathan moved off to Reddersburg to open up his business. And why did they choose Parys? So that actually Lipsy and my grandmother knew a bit about, but they said that they came in about 1919 to Parys, and they were looking for a place to open their own store. You know, Nathan had gone to Reddersburg, and they were looking for another town where they could do the same. They basically had the same business that they learned from Aubach and Sachs Brothers, and so they chose Parys because of the river. Reminded them a lot of home, of probably Fair and Varna, where the Varna particularly has a lot of rivers running through it. If you go back to our pictures, I showed there's a picture of Varna with a stream. So I think that Parys for them, was very much like their childhood of where they grew up, but there probably weren't as many Jews. But the small town, the type of industries and farming around, selling to the farmers, selling to the townspeople was really what they grew up with. And so Parys really probably felt more like home, especially with the river, and that's why they chose Parys. And there was an opportunity there to open a store. But it's not. Other people in Parys were not from Ritava, so it's not like there was a family connection that brought them to Parys. As far as Lipsy said, Boehner sent Charlie off to scout through towns in the Free State, and he liked Parys because of the river, and they opened Sachs Brothers there.
Can I interrupt you, Michael?
Yes.
I don't have the record of the shul, that we took out of the thing. I gave it to Jonty, the original one, and I don't know why I think that the shul was open in 1919.
Yes, exactly. 1919 is when the shul opened.
Okay, so now that's what bothers me with your dates, because in 1919, when the shul opened, Clara was the chair lady of the Ladies' Society,
so then
and my grandfather, Charles, was the vice chairman.
I think it was 1922, Sil. I think it was 22 because my grandparents were married in 23, and they were the first people married in the shul. I think it's 22.
Okay.
I think it's 22 after they got married. But this is maybe a good. We skip John to your side of the family to introduce themselves. Do you all want to introduce yourselves, Sil?
Should we go in the order of age?
Sil?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm Sil, and this is my wife, Lorna.
Hi.
We got married in 1973, so we've been married for 52 years. I'm 75, and I can't remember how old Lorna is, and I don't want to tell you, well, she's still young. And we had 4 children. Dahlia is the oldest. Gilla. Clifford, I don't know if he's here, and Jonty are our kids. We live in Parys. I've lived most of my life in Parys, except for the 14 months that we lived in Israel between September 73 and January 75. Came back to Parys, and I've been here ever since. My daughter Gilla is there. My favorite granddaughter Lexi's there. Jonty and Hinor, I can't see any of my other kids.
Maybe,
Uh,
I'm here.
Yeah.
Dan, maybe all of us should give a quick 20 seconds on each other.
Go for it.
Starting with
Here
Dalia.
come boys. Come say about me.
Hi, I'm Dalia. I was born in 1976. I'll be 50 next month.
Sure.
I'm married. I have no children.
Hi, I'm Gilla. I have the only granddaughter. I was born in 77 and Lexi will be 21 next month.
Wow.
We have a lot of June birthdays.
And I live in Joburg. Dalia lives in Pretoria. Cliff, you're up.
I'm up. How's it? Okay, so I'm Cliff, and this is my wife, Claudia.
Hi.
My oldest, Joshua.
Put your photo, your
And
camera
there's
on.
Gabriel. I was born in 1983, and we reside in Nelspruit.
Okay.
Hi everyone, I'm John T. Sachs, my wife Inor Sachs. I'm 41, 1985. We have two boys. They're 8 and 4, both watching TV and will not be disturbed. And we live in Joburg, and yeah, been here for the last 25 years or so.
Cool.
Great, Mike, move on.
Yeah, would you want to let the other guys, Cyril's kids?
Yes.
You guys want to go?
I don't know if there is there someone from Cyril's side.
Yeah.
Peter, so
Charles was on just now.
It's us. It's us. Yes, Charles, Cyril's son.
I'm Cyril's son, born in 1958. Come here, Jill. And living in Sydney for the last year. We've come to join our kids. It's Peter and little Jim
And David.
and David, who's on.
He was
also
on. He's
but
obviously
he's
dropped
gone.
off.
I'm sorry he's not there now. He's living here. He's got 3 kids and Peter's got 2. And this is my wife, Jill. So hello, Jill.
how's it guys?
And that's the story.
We go back.
And I'm Peter, Charles' son.
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
No.
I want them to meet Saxy.
And this is someone called Saxy, part of the Sax family. Yeah, and it's great. Thanks for this initiative. It's a great initiative.
Yeah,
So
well,
happy to.
Well done, Michael.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. John T.
Outstanding.
And then
And that's the story.
Jared's still on. He can vouch for his branch.
Hi, I'm Jared Sachs. I am the grandson of Boris Bocky Sachs. We moved to Australia in 1996. I was born in 1984. I've got my partner Veronica and 2 children, Julian and Isabel. And my brother, he's married to a girl called Laurie, and they've got 2 kids, Madison and Parker, who are about the same age as my kids. And my parents, Wayne and Cecile, still live with us in Melbourne. And that's sort of our side of the family.
Great. Okay, cool. John, so you want to move to the next branch? Okay, cool. So this is my branch of the family, and this is Banus was the other brother of Nathan and Charles and Elka, and he married Simi Herring, who was the sister of Clara, so they had 2 children, 2 daughters. They had Bicky, Beatrice, and Lipsy, and we can all introduce ourselves also.
Mark, sorry, I'm confused myself quickly. So just tie Benny Sachs to Nathan and Samuel. What's the connection?
So Banus and Nathan were brothers, and Charles were all brothers. Yeah, all brothers.
Okay. Cool.
So we can all introduce ourselves. Mama, do you want to go first?
Kathleen, you muted, so you need to unmute.
I don't know if they can. I'll just let Ian go in the meantime. Ian, can you unmute?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Ian. This is an incredible event. It's wonderful that you've organized this. Thank you so much. And so, yes, I'm the grandson of Bainus Sachs, who unfortunately I never met, but I did meet his wife, Simi, before she died. And I've got 3 children, and I'm married to this woman next to me, Astrid. And yeah, it's lovely to see you all. We live in Brisbane, Australia.
2 grandchildren.
We've got 2 grandchildren. Yeah.
Mark, and you go now. All right, Ruth, you go.
So I'm Ruth. I'm Lipsy's daughter. I'm married and I live near Cambridge in the UK. And I've been here since 1984. So my brother Ilan, who's not on the call, he lives in Sydney and he's got 3 children and 4 grandchildren.
Right. No, I don't know if you can do it, but okay, I'll do it. So my parents, John and Kathleen, I think their camera's not working. And there's 2 of us, Michael, and my brother Stephen lives in London. He can sort of do his own thing. Stephen.
Yeah, hi everyone. Great to see everyone. As Michael says, I'm Stephen, living in London, and great to reconnect.
Okay, John D, let's go back to the slides.
I think Khan wants to say something.
Oh, Khan. Does he? Khan? Okay, John D, next slide. So,
Chaim is talking, but we can't hear him.
Chaim, we can't hear you. Do you want to talk to us? You're on mute. Chaim?
Let me see if I can unmute. Chaim, hold on. I've muted you. Try and mute yourself.
Don't
know. On the top of the screen, like 2 buttons away from the leave button, should be a little microphone.
Okay, John, let's go to the slides. We're running out of time.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So Bainus was actually quite a bit younger than the others. He was born in 1893 in Tver. As we said, this really very small town, while the others were born in Voronoi. Lipsy didn't know so much, but she thought actually the memory that her father told her about living in Lithuania was that in the winters it was very, oh, you're unmuted. Oh, Chaim, you can hear us. That it was very, very, very cold, and he used to sleep in those little wooden houses next to the oven. That it was so cold that they used to sleep on the oven for warmth. Was sort of the only real memory that she knew about his early life in Lithuania. You can see that he came to South Africa in 1908 on the boat records. Interesting, the same boat that Nathan took, he took the Durham Castle, and he spent quite a considerable time, almost 2 weeks in London in the poor Jewish temporary shelter. And he married in 1923, he married Simi Herring. She came to South Africa quite a lot later. She came to South Africa in the early 1920. And so it's likely that they met, obviously, through his brother. So Charles had already married Clara, and when she got off the boat, they probably introduced them and said, here's a good shidduch for you. Here's a picture of the 2 of them on their wedding day in the top hat and quite a beautiful dress. If we scroll down to the next slide. As I said, they came to Parys probably in around 1919 when they set up Sachs Brothers, Bainus with his brother Charles. and they spent most of their life in Parys. Here's really quite a nice family picture with all of the kids and some of the other cousins from the other side of everybody sort of in Parys. And I think that they lived really, as my mother said the other day, as like one family. You know, you had 2 daughters in this family and 3 sons in Charles's family. And I think they really almost lived like as brothers and sisters together in Parys.
Mark, do you know, can you name everyone in the image just for records?
I can try. Sitting on the bench is Clara. In the middle, on the side is probably Simi. Behind in the glasses is Sonia Malamed. Charlie's probably at the back on the right. On the left is probably Bainus at the back. And then the 3 boys would be Gerald, Cyril, and Boki. And the 2 girls would be Bicky and Lipsy. The other guys, the older guys, we're not 100% sure. It might be some of the Malameds. It could be the Malameds.
I think that's Beryl and Les. Or on the right-hand side.
Sitting.
I'm not sure who it can't be Les sitting on his. It must be either Boki or I think it's Boki, because my dad is sitting next to my grandmother on her right-hand side. And I think that Cyril is standing at the back next to my grandfather. And I think that's Boki sitting on Beryl's lap.
And who's the man with the bow tie? Do you know?
I don't know who the man with the bow tie is. I don't know who that man is.
Yeah,
and he's bald.
The Malameds and Boki were neighbors. They lived next door to each other, right?
Yes, that's
Only
right.
afterwards.
But he was from the Herring side. So he's not a Sax.
Yes.
All right, let's go to the last branch. So this is Elka Sachs, and we have some of her descendants on the line. So Elka married Chaim Goldfuss, and yeah, that's a good opportunity for them. They had lots of children, and yeah, good opportunity for some of them. Most of them live in Israel today. For them to introduce themselves. All the Goldfusses. Time.
I just go to 2.
Oh, now my parents are unmuted.
No, now we unmuted.
Yeah, now you
So
must be.
I can say something. I think my father Chaim here, he has a bit of a problem here right now with the microphone for some reason. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you perfectly.
Okay. So while he unmutes, my name is Yuval. I'm the eldest of Chaim Goldfuss, the grandson of Elka Sachs. And these are my 2 kids, Itai and Noam, 6 and 4. And I have a brother and a sister. My sister is in Israel, and my brother is currently in South Africa, actually, I think, for a visit. I don't know if he reached out to you or not, but he probably will after this. He's not here in the call right now. And yes, most of the kids, most of the children of Elka Sachs, well, yeah, I think the eldest of Elka Sachs is Sam Goldfuss, and he was in South Africa. He lived in South Africa. He moved there before the war, before 45. And I guess that some of you probably know some of his family. I mean, I see some head nodding. So, and so Sam's eldest is also Chaim Goldfuss. They're all after the Elka's husband, Chaim Goldfuss, and they all lived originally in Lokova, as far as I know, until the Holocaust. And most of Elka's children moved to Israel, either some of them a little before the war and some of them after the Holocaust. My grandfather David Goldfuss, he survived the Holocaust, and then he moved then he moved to Israel. And nowadays, yeah, most of this family branch live in Israel.
Amazing.
Very nice to meet all of you, and thank you for this great opportunity.
Nice to meet you. Do you want to say a few words? Or you unmuted? No, he's struggling. No, we can't hear you, Chaim. No, we can't hear you.
Well, Mark, why don't you phone Chaim on your phone and let him speak through your phone? Because I think you could.
Yeah,
I think you mentioned that I can phone him.
All right, cool. If you want to, we can just carry on quickly. Maybe when he's trying to connect, we can go through the 2 slides of him. Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
A little bit.
Can you hear me now?
A little bit, a little bit.
A little bit. A little bit. I don't know. My microphone is unmuted. Everything is unmuted. I don't know.
No, now we can't hear you.
That was my fault. Sorry. I thought, sorry, Yuval, I muted you because of the background noise. Sorry about that.
See if you can fix it. Maybe we can bring him back. I'll do the slides quickly and then maybe we can bring him back at the end if we can fix it.
Okay, sorry, I'll share my screen.
Let's see now. And then we can just, because it would be great to have him speak about time. Okay, so this is the Goldfuss family. As Yuval said, their oldest child is Sam Goldfuss, who actually, I was hoping Hami would be on the call because he knows quite a lot. He actually came to South Africa in 1926. He left Lukova and he was in yeshiva and he didn't enjoy it, and the parents sent him to South Africa. He moved to Reddersburg to live with Uncle Nathan, who we discussed before. And so Sam actually came to South Africa, and he had 3 kids. Chaim Goldfuss, who's not this Chaim, the other Chaim, Francis, and Jackie. Jackie was also going to join, but he cancelled at the last minute. So yeah, so we'll see some pictures. Then there was Arya Leib Goldfuss. He actually also left Lithuania in the 30s. He was a big Zionist, and he moved to Israel before the war. Sorry, that was Yechiel. I'm wrong. There's Leib, there was Yechiel, and then there was Etta, obviously named for the mother. If you notice, there's Etta Goldfuss, and there was also Etta Penn. So that was probably named for Shmuel Movsa's wife. Esther, or Etta, is probably who she was named for. There was a son, Benjamin, and David, who's Chaim's father. And if we go to the next slide, this is a picture of the Goldfuss family before the war. You've got Etta, you've got Elka and her husband Chaim Goldfuss, and all of their children taken in Lithuania. She married.
The top one is Sam.
The top one is Sam.
The one in the middle top, that's Sam Goldfuss. That's their eldest, the one that moved to Africa. That's Chaime's father.
Amazing. And this is a marriage record for that I found in Lithuania for Elka. So she actually got married. You see, it says she was born in Varnai, and she got married in 1908 to Chaim Goldfuss, and he was from Lukova, and obviously she moved to Lukova with him when they got married. So her father would have passed away already by that stage, and probably she was living with her mother and Bainus and Charlie, and Nathan had already come to Africa by that stage. So that's her marriage record. If we go to the last slide quickly, this is some of the pictures I had around for her children. So we discussed that Sam Goldfuss with my grandmother and Lipsy. He was in the army. We shared his army record on the group. And there's his boat record where he comes to Uncle Nathan in Reddersburg. This is a marriage picture that I think Searle's parents had a postcard that they got from Chaim, from your parents, from David Goldfuss, I think. In the 50s, I think they sent them a marriage postcard. And this is a postcard that was sent to Bainus in the 1930s from Leib, who was his nephew, just to say, this is your nephew. I mean, Chaim can talk more than me, but the family, was in the Holocaust. I don't know so much about what happened, but only David and Leib survived. I did find there was a Dachau concentration camp record for both of them that shows that they were in Dachau at some point, and the rest of the family were all murdered. So Elka, Chaim, Benjamin, and the sister Etty were all killed in the Holocaust and didn't survive. But David and Leib did survive, and I don't know much about which concentration camps they were in or anything like that. I just know this, and they made their way to Israel and sort of lived there after the war. I know that my grandmother, when she went to Israel, visited them, and what she did say is that when she opened the door and she met them, she couldn't believe how much they looked like her father. Her father had passed away at that stage, and she was like shocked when she met them that they were like the splitting image of her father. That was like a big memory for her, that she felt very connected to them. And I don't know if Chaim wants to maybe tell us a little bit more about his family and what they went through. I don't know if he wants to share. It would be amazing.
So I just told my father to try to disconnect and connect again. So let's see, I'll give him a few seconds. I hope he's able to connect and operate his microphone now here.
Do you know did they ever come to visit South Africa? Do you know, if they...
Not that I know. Oh, he's here. Let's see if he can connect now. Ava, can you unmute yourself? Unmute yourself. It's on the top right.
Yuval, why don't we try?
Yeah, I can say a little bit. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah, we can hear you.
Finally.
Can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Okay. Okay. If you go back to the pictures, I can give you the whole story of the Elkas family.
Please.
And also the photos that I know. Okay. Even one. Yeah. Okay. So, can you see? You can see my arrow, right? Where I point. Okay. So Sam is in the middle, as Yuval said. To the left, which is the right of the picture, the guy there, which is similar, is Leib. Ethel is next to Elka. Chaim Goldfuss. Next to Chaim Goldfuss, to his, I mean, if you watch it, it's to the right, but from the picture, it's to the left, is Yechiel, who left to Israel before the Holocaust, like Sam, but he went to Israel. Benjamin is under him, and the little one is my father, David.
Sure.
The one who is sitting. That's David Joseph Goldfuss.
Amazing.
And actually, this we got from South Africa. I think it was sent either by Sam or by Jaime. Now, just to know, not to confuse in the family, there is Chaim from South Africa and there is Chaim from Israel. So in the family, Chaim from Africa. how Chaim was identified in the family. For some reason, Moshe, my brother, and Chaim, they met together to join, but they are both somehow, I guess, a little bit intimidated by the technology. I don't know what happened, but well, even I couldn't communicate. Tal Goldfuss went to try to get in touch with Jackie several times. It didn't work. He's now in South Africa. He comes to Africa Burn for several years now, if you know about it. And he is now in Cape Town. For
Amazing.
I don't know. I think it's not clear because he's now moving. I don't know where he's moving in the world.
If he comes to Joburg, tell him to look us up.
Sorry.
If he comes to Johannesburg, tell him to look us up.
Yeah. I told him, but Tal, you know what the middle sons are? Okay. He's a middle son, and he does what he says. And I told him, but yeah, if I will. He was supposed to be here also. I don't know what happened, but I told him to join. So during the Holocaust, I could not know, but I can tell you there is a book of the history of Lithuanian Jews, and I think it's even in English, about the whereabouts of David, my father, and Leib during the Holocaust. My cousin Judith, she's the daughter of Leib. She lives in Israel too. About Chaim's family, I guess you know that there are 4 children. So just tell me what you want to know, and I will let you know. And what I don't find now, I can say to you later. I can send you later because I have. I was hoping you will have more pictures of the family backs, like Elka and the family back in Lithuania, and the only photo I see is my family, which is such a pity.
We don't have any. We don't have any family photos of Shmuel Movsha or Elka from Lithuania, and not us. Not I don't know if anyone else has, but we don't have any of those photos.
I know we are 3 children. Michaim, Moshe, who is called after my mother's side, and Binyamin, who is called after Binyamin Goldfuss. He is now trying to get, for us in Israel, to get a European passport. So we are trying to get Lithuanian passports, and we found someone to look through all the documents and archive, but apparently, at least at Laukova, the archive was burned.
Look here. So, well, there is the marriage record, hey, that I found. So you can probably use that.
This is a marriage.
Yes, the one in the bottom is is a translated marriage record of Elka to Chaim Goldfuss.
You have the official record.
You have to request it from the archives. There's an organization that translates them and
okay, we can talk. We'll be in touch later. You can tell me how to do it. Anyhow, so he is trying to get all kind of information. There is also, when I went to the US to do my PhD, by chance I met another Goldfuss family, and somebody like Michael in that Goldfuss family turned out there are more Goldfusses in our Goldfuss family. There are at least 2 more Goldfuss families, and I suspect that the Goldfuss family name comes from the Goyim. In Silesia, there is a whole village of Goldfusses with 2 S's. When I was asked, how do you write my name? So they said, we are not German, we are 1 S, we are not SS's. So,
and Chaim, do you know what happened to your family in the Holocaust? Do you know, did your father ever talk about it or not so much?
I will send. There is a record. Most of the time, they were in hard labor camps when a lot of people were sort of, hunger, and then they died. Chaim Goldfuss and Binyamin were sent to Auschwitz at one of these, during the months of Av. They were, and the rabbi of Laukova were sent to Auschwitz. Later on, my father and Leib went to evacuate the Warsaw Ghetto after the revolt. They were for a short time sent to to Warsaw to evacuate the whatever left from the revolt, and then and they were in Auschwitz for a short time, and then they were, I think they were together in the death march, and they were the death march after when the Americans and the Russians came together. So a lot of people would send out, my mother too, on the death march, and they survived, and they were rescued by the Americans, and then they went to Italy, and from Italy my father came to Israel already in 46, so he participated in the Independence War and so on. And Leib stayed because he married Judith's mother, my cousin, in Italy, and they came after the Holocaust in 1949, I think. Judith was born in Cyprus, in the refugee camp in Cyprus.
Wow.
That's very short. I mean, I can tell you the whole story. I also asked Judith to tell. She knew more about Lokova than I knew. That the family had a sort of a ranch, and they had the cows. And Chaim Goldfuss was, I don't know how big, short he was, but he had like a good stand in the little city of Lokova. But Elka and Ethel, according to the story, they were actually the Lithuanians. They were given in to the Germans by the Lithuanians. And I think they were burned in the synagogue of Lokova. That's what I know. So that's in short, the short history of the Goldfuss family.
Thank you very much. It would be great to meet you in person.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
Where in Israel do you live?
Jerusalem.
Oh, okay. Same as Jaime, yes.
Yes. We are in close contact, with Chaim, yeah.
Great.
Mark, question. I'm sure, I think you explained this to me, and just to squash the issue is around us all getting Lithuanian passports. It's not possible?
Yeah, so Chaim can get, because he obviously his father was definitely Lithuanian. I mean, they were yeah. And what year was David born?
Well, apparently he told us 1925, but in all the records in Israel, and I think even in Dachau, because I have the same record, he wrote 1920. I asked him, why did you do that? So he said when he came to Israel, he raised his age so he could get a job, and if he would be like 1925, he was too young to get a job, so he faked his marriage date. And he doesn't know exactly. He said, I'm not sure. I was born, actually, it's very Shavuot is coming this week, and he said, I was born 2 weeks before Shavuot, and 2 weeks after Shavuot. I don't know. So there are no records. That's the story.
So yeah, Jonty, you had to have lived in Lithuania after 1919. Lithuania became an independent country after 1919. Before 1919, it was part of the Russian Empire. And yeah, so unless you can prove that you lived there after 1919 and were a citizen, they won't give you a passport. So like in our case, Simi Herring, and she came after 1919, so she was Lithuanian. But Clara, your great grandmother, and Charles and Bayanus, they all came before 1919 to South Africa, so they wouldn't qualify for Lithuanian citizenship.
And Russian?
No, I don't think the Russians don't sort of give. The Russians aren't so keen on giving citizenship. But I'm not sure it's a good citizenship to have. I don't know what you can do with the Russian passport. Go to Belarus, maybe.
And even between, my father was either 20 or 25, doesn't matter. But they give you a hard time. They are not really interested in.
Yeah, they've changed the rules. So we've got Lithuanian passports, but when we did it, it was much easier. Today they're making it very difficult. They don't want to make it easy for people.
Yes, right.
Does anybody else want to ask anything? Or we've got to run to a funeral, but
I want to ask if you could share the family tree somehow. If you could send that.
So it's all
You
online
can also
on Genie.
add.
And you guys
I'm
can
sorry?
it's all on Genie. I'll send you the link, and you
Perfect.
guys can fill in like all of your, lower, down stuff.
Okay.
And it would be great also if either on the group or somewhere else, if people could share whatever old family photos they have. It would be really nice so we can all see and maybe, possibly identify some people that maybe others know. It would be really nice to share. We can even, we need to choose where, but you could share, like you could actually tag people, right? So once you put a photo online, you could tag this person as this. It would be nice to have something like that.
Do you know how to set
So
it
if
up?
you have an idea where, that's great. If not, I can maybe look up some platform for
Okay,
sharing. So we can tag
Okay,
that.
that would be
Yeah,
nice. Thanks, man.
sure.
Can I just ask a question? Yuval and Chaim, your father and son?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm Yuval. I was born in '85.
Yeah.
My father, Chaim, I think he's your age, I think.
And
No, 51. 1951.
51, me too. And Jaime, what happened to him? I sent him the link.
I know Hami didn't join. He said he was having that South African Hami said he was having technology trouble.
Okay. And Chaim, I would like to meet you. I'm coming in October.
Oh,
Are you coming in October? What date?
Okay,
I'm also going. We're doing
About
another
the
tour.
25th.
So
About the 25th.
wonderful. Wonderful.
don't you want to come on another tour?
Yeah.
We're doing a solidarity tour.
I'm going first to I'm going to Athens. I'm going to Greece for 10 days, and then I'm coming to Israel, and haven't decided how long we're going to stay in Israel, but we'll stay in Israel until we've seen everybody and done everything. So we haven't, whether it's a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks, that's how long we're staying in Israel.
Listen, we haven't discussed this. This is under school holidays. What am I supposed to do with the kids?
You send them to John T. He know we'll look after them.
Nor can't look after a goldfish.
It's true.
Goldfish, yeah.
Bye,
Okay.
everybody.
And,
Guys, I'll upload this onto YouTube, and I'll post it on the group, and I think it'd be good records to keep.
Yes, thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks so much for
Thank you
organizing.
very much.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Amazing.
Bye-bye.
But he knows got goldfish and they're doing well.
Bye-bye, you all. Bye-bye.
Bye. Take
Bye-bye, my
care.
favorite granddaughter.
Come on.
Bye, Grandpa.